kind of, do we have any agenda items from the public? Probably not. I don't have anything. Um,
I don't think so.
did any, Mary? No. Okay,
Nope.
so we'll just go ahead and dive into our first, I think that's actually one of the most important ones, by Board Policy 1100. Okay.
Okay, I'll turn that over to Crystal.
I'm not sure who the host of this meeting is, but you won't let me screen share. So somehow the host has to allow me to do screen sharing.
Can you do that, Mary? Add multiple to screen share?
Use 1100. Maybe I should have been there first.
Shireen,
Yeah.
I need Crystal to be able to screen share.
Okay, hold on. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome.
All right. All right.
Excellent.
Can you folks see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Is
Yep.
it big enough?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I noticed that in board policy 1100, which describes the composition of the district, that we were first of all missing two of our sites, PCC Rosemead and PCC Northwest. So as you can see, I added them in, and now we have been calling the Community Education Center the Foothill Campus. So I made that adjustment as well.
Okay, so I am happy you mentioned that. So we do have them as centers, is that correct?
Yeah, the district consists of the following college and or educational centers.
Perfect.
Previously, we just had those top three, but now I've added in PCC Rosemead and PCC Northwest.
Excellent. Any questions, anyone?
I'm just wondering, as we have been discussing different locations, which may or may not exist, or new ones that may come up, whether or not we should be putting it actually in the policy and maybe just putting it in the, I don't know. I mean, this is going to require us to change this at least again, probably this year.
Why?
Well, what if we don't have PCC Rosemead? What if we add something else?
Well,
I wouldn't worry about it at this moment.
then we'll bring it back, but we have it right now.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it just is going to require us, when we specify the locations directly in the policy,
Right.
it's just going to require us to keep bringing it back.
Mm-hmm.
but this is not one that I take through the shared governance process. This is just one that we do here and then move to the full board.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts? So we'll just leave it the way it is, and then if we'll deal with it when it comes up, if it does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Next. Is that 2200?
Yes, bring it right up for you.
Yep. And this is a board bylaw.
Yeah. The changes I made to this one and to the next one, board officers, came out of the archiving and the one on advisors. We archived in Trustee Martin asked that we put somewhere in the other board bylaws specifically about the ability to contract for services of an attorney. So I added it into number 28 on board duties and responsibilities.
Okay. Could you go up to 13? Point 13, I think I had a question up there. Okay. Linda, did you have a question before I throw mine out?
Well, only that I do remember John bringing this up, but frankly, I mean, I think one of the things that we discussed when he brought it up on the first time we talked about the authority of the board chair and the authority of the superintendent, I still question, I mean, why would we call out the attorney, the ability to contract with the attorney? I mean, I think that they would have we would grant them the superintendent the ability to contract with any resource that they need. They just have to work with the board to do it. So I just don't know why we would be calling out the attorney specifically. I can't remember John's issue on it.
Well, I think the problem we have is that I agree with you. So I don't know how you want to go forward. I don't think this is necessary. He was very concerned that without a bylaw that empowered the board and the board president to contract for such services, it meant they couldn't. I think it's an assumption of your responsibilities as a board that of course you would be able to contract with an attorney or an independent contractor. So we're just bringing this back in a format because Trustee Martin objected to the deletion of the other board bylaw. So, you know, we defer to the two of you. You're the board members.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We might not need it in both places. Let me just pop up the other one for you quick so you can see what the other one looked like, where I specifically provided it for the board officers here. So here under board officers is where and I think this was more of his concern, that the board president be able to do this outside of a board meeting. So I added.
Right. That kind of was my recollection of it. That's why I'm not sure why we need it in here. And the problem I have is that if you call out an attorney, as the attorney, does that mean that it's different for other contractors that may be needed? So I don't know. I just don't see it as necessary either.
The reason I put it in 28 is because 28 already said be ultimately responsible for legal matters. So then I just added in the language and contracted the services of an attorney. But this is completely up to you. I just was trying to address his concern.
Well, to me, it doesn't really matter. We could just leave it the way it was, but then, you know, we're gonna, what is it that you said we deleted from a previous policy? Why he brought that up?
We actually deleted an entire board bylaw.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay, now I remember. I remember.
And his concern really was specifically with the board president's ability to hire an attorney outside of a full board action. That you were giving the board president the ability for necessity to hire an attorney if say it was in between board meetings.
Okay, I remember that now. Well,
so why wouldn't we make 28 okay, so if you want to put in attorney or any other resources deemed necessary.
Okay.
Let me add that here. But this 28 applies to the full board, which is fine. Okay.
okay, yeah. Okay, is that better?
Yeah, better. You might have to wordsmith this a bit. I think it's a bit redundant in the wording, but I leave it to Crystal to do that.
Okay. I can wordsmith.
That's all I had for Linda.
Yeah, okay. So I had a question actually.
Mhm.
No, I mean, it's been such of a long time. I don't remember what was said before, I guess. But on question on number 16, which was talking about, and I know we talked about it, but I don't remember. what was the approve of community services for the college? I think that's a approve health, safety and policies. No, that wasn't the 16. There's one of them that talked about the community that we approve for the college. Which number was that? I had that in.
Number 17, approve the community service.
Yeah, what was that? I know you guys told me, but I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to defer to Erica on that.
What-
Approved community services.
What are,
That's probably referring to our civic center. You know, when we rent out our facilities to local community groups, or when we co-sponsor things, or anything we do that is a service to the community, that's basically what that refers to. Mary, I saw you shaking your head. That's your understanding too? Yeah.
okay. all
So
right.
there are lots of times, you know, where we'll co-sponsor a basketball tournament for a local youth league, or, you know, one of our local partners on Plaque will do some sort of empowerment seminar. We might co-sponsor that, which basically waives the room rental fee for them.
Okay.
And so it's us facilitating community activities on our campus.
Okay, and I think on number 11, the handbooks, I know that I have seen some handbooks come by for students, but I don't remember us being involved into handbooks for classified employees or management. Is that something? I mean, it's here, so I just want to know at what point does the trustee ever see that, or how does that?
Yeah, it's a good point, Berlinda. I don't remember us ever approving someone's handbook. There's lots of handbooks that go out. I'm
Yeah,
not sure it ever comes to the board.
Crystal, do you have any idea how that got in there?
I think that's probably been in there for like 20 years.
Yeah, I know. But I've
Yeah.
seen it. But now that we are worrying about the DEI and all this stuff, we really need to be careful what we have, because I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent question, but I don't ever remember us bringing a handbook to you for approval.
No.
Yeah, let's strike that.
Okay, strike it, we will.
Boom.
Ah. Anything
Now,
else?
is my student trustee with us?
Yes, he is.
Mr. David, do you have any thoughts, any input? Please tell me something.
Everything looks good for me. I just had a question on the contraction of attorney services. Is there something that prevents perhaps the board contracting an attorney that is maybe too expensive, or is there like limitations on perhaps maybe an attorney that has a conflict of interest, or are there limitations within that?
So there's nothing on cost in there, because the assumption is that as part of their fiduciary responsibility, the board will, you know, not choose somebody who costs $1,000 an hour, let's say. In terms of conflict of interest, though, all of the attorney firms that we deal with, before they actually put in to have a contract with our district, they do a conflict of interest study to make sure that they don't have a conflict. So let's say that the board says, hey, we want to hire this attorney to represent us, but it turns out that that attorney has represented one of the board members in a personal matter, you know, having nothing to do with their relationship with the board. That attorney would say, you know what, I can't represent you because I have represented this person before. So that's a standard process. And we've had to deal with some issues this year where there were attorneys that I went to and said, could you help us with this? And they said, you know what, unfortunately we can't, because we worked on this issue with this person. So we're going to have to say no. How about if you try these other people? So it's kind of built into the whole process of choosing an attorney.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions up there? I think we're okay. think, Linda? I think we should be okay. Trustee Wall, anything else?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, so I guess we can move on to the next one, Crystal.
Yes, this is board officers. And this is where I added in C, which empowers the president of the board to hire an attorney to represent or advise the board as necessary. And I believe this is specifically what Trustee Martin was speaking to, was the ability of the board president to do this outside of a board meeting if necessary.
You're breaking. I'm not really following what you're saying, Crystal.
Okay. So this, I believe, is what Trustee Martin was specifically asking, is that the board president be empowered to hire an attorney to represent the board if that came up in between meetings. So there wasn't time to take it to the full board for approval.
I thought we had already had that in.
Yeah, that's the thing is well, I don't want to get argumentative, but you already have that right. The board president does not have to ask permission as long as at some point in the process, there is a contract in place. So for example, when you all chose Warren to deal with a complaint that you had, he was already under contract. So Jim contacted him and said, we have this issue, and you dealt with it. So the board president doesn't have to ask permission to hire an attorney in any. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't think you need this, but again, you're the board members, you got to deal with your colleagues. I don't know.
So Berlinda, I think that we in the past had and there may have been a situation where the board president was needed to hire an attorney. And I think there might have been pushback from possibly administration that said, no, they couldn't do it unless they were the full board. So I think that might have been the genesis of this. And I also recall that we have had instances where then that privilege was then taken a bit far. And I think you might remember that we might have had a board member who was the president who maybe called the attorney at will, almost using them as personal attorney. So those are two things that I think need to be just maybe conscious of.
Okay, so are we saying that we are going to, I'm not looking at the Crystal, could you put that wording up here so I can see what we're talking about?
Try again.
I remember that clearly, but I'm trying to figure, okay, officers. So which is the part that we are changing?
So this is empowering the president of the board in item C to hire an attorney or represent or advise the board as necessary. It's just specifically stating that the board president has been empowered to do that.
Well, so then that is not really addressing what you mentioned, Linda, because we still have that power. So if we have a trustee that wants to use the attorney as well, then this still does not address it, correct?
Yeah, and it really has only been a few years since that occurred. So I'm not sure. I don't know, Erica, Crystal, what do you guys think? I mean, I hate to put so much in that makes it difficult, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, so adding it there gives the board president the ability to hire the attorney as necessary. I have to say that if the board chair if we find that the board chair abuses that requirement or that permission, then it would be up to the board to police their own members. So I think you all would have to step in and say, hey, according to this bylaw, you have the right to hire the attorney, but you don't have the right to treat that attorney as your own personal attorney.
Which I think might be under your standards, your ethics, your code of ethics.
Yeah, that would be under your code of ethics.
Okay, so we could address it there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Okay. Let's go with the next one. And now we're moving on to 3050, which is professional ethics of faculty. This was a very slight modification made by the Board of Trustees, which is in the very last sentence. It says, faculty accused of violating the professional ethics of faculty policy and/or procedures shall be afforded appropriate due process. There used to be a period there. Now they've added appropriate due process if a violation has occurred.
That sounds good to me.
yeah,
I'm okay.
yeah.
Okay. And then the next one we have is BP 4235, which is credit for prior learning. And this is actually a brand new
I like that.
board policy. I'm going to see if I can find that. It's pretty short. Basically, just can everyone see this? Is it big enough for you? Credit may be earned by students who satisfactorily demonstrate proficiency through the approved methods for awarding credit. The option for credit for prior learning may not be available for all course offerings and is contingent upon disciplined curricular decisions as approved through the curriculum process. The superintendent president shall establish administrative procedures to implement this board policy, and she has done that.
You have your
David?
hand up, Linda?
Yeah, so the only thing, I'm really happy to see this. I think we've been waiting for something like this for quite a while. So I don't know, maybe this is a question for you, Erica. I wonder if we need, I'd love to see the board have a policy that really urges faculty to implement more credit by learning or have more courses approved for credit by learning or more, more offerings. So that, and I don't know, should we, I'd love to put some stronger language that really talks about this as a value for the board. What do you think, Erica?
This is a good point.
I think that you might want to consider adding a reference to encouraging faculty to expand their ideas about how students can earn credits at our college in your DEI mission statement. Because basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to say, hey, there's not just one way. It's not a linear highway to completing an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. And that as a college, as a board, one of the ways we can expand our equity efforts is to be open-minded to all the different avenues that individuals might earn credit. Because that opens up, what it does is it sets the expectation that the board says to the faculty, hey, in the past, you may not have liked CLEP exams, but you know what? A lot of our veterans come in with CLEP exams. You need to rethink that. Or you may not have liked, I mean, a whole host of things. I think that's the more appropriate place to put it than here, because this is a policy that allows for credit for prior learning, which we need under the Ed Code, but this isn't where you want to establish the imperative. The imperative comes as a vision or a value statement. This is a policy statement.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So Berlinda and David, I think as we move through the DEI discussions, let's really put that in on the board so that we remember that. I think that makes a lot of sense, Erica.
Okay.
David, do you have anything to say, David?
I'm just in complete agreement.
I also think that when you are discussing this with the full board, that you bring that up.
Yeah,
Concern.
Yeah, and I think for Linda,
Yeah,
the issue about the attorney privilege or to contract, I think we should also bring up the issue of then, and maybe we even include the policy on the ethics so that we clearly say that, you know, this is not to say that this is used for personal, you know, whenever the president decides that they have a personal issue. So,
you know, these policies are always hard, or board laws or whatever, board bylaws, because without saying it, what you're really trying to do is write policy that would keep a rogue trustee in check. And so it's really hard to do that without seeming draconian and over prescriptive. But that's why, you know, okay, if somebody abuses it, then you have an ethics policy, and that's how you police them. You know, you have the ability to say, hey, this is not what you've been doing, is not for the purposes of the board or the college. This is a violation of your ethical responsibility to the board. And then that's the avenue, rather than, you know, because it's hard, you know, it's like, you know, we find this a lot when we talk about evaluations, whether it's faculty, staff, administrator. There's always this concern about the rogue administrator, you know, the rogue supervisor. And those are real. Like, it's not that they don't happen, but there's no way to effectively write a policy or an evaluation process that addresses that without it seeming like it's going overboard. So.
yeah, I think what's good though is that we go on record in public meeting that, you know, and we have this other policy. So, you know, just to keep in mind, you know, we're making sure that we guard this.
Okay, that makes sense. So I have a note here regarding that, the credit. I think this, going back to 4235, I think this is a great time to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time. This is the time. So,
Yeah.
okay, good. Well, I'm glad that we do have this policy though.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah, it's brand new. We were required by the state to create this by December 31st. So we're just catching up with the board policy piece of it.
Here we have it. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we have one more.
Yeah.
503 withholding, okay.
The last one, and all I did to this one was remove transcripts as something that can be held from a former student. This is by law. We can know under the Educational Debt Collection Practices Act, we can no longer withhold transcripts if a student doesn't meet their financial obligations.
Okay.
Let's see why.
So I have a question.
Sure.
For
Go
Linda?
ahead.
Oh, okay. So, so one of the things that came up when we were doing the financial aid reform task force, where there were some financial aid officers who were reporting that they were holding back registration of students who hadn't met financial obligations. And there were small things like paying a library fine. And so they stopped doing that. So I worry a little bit about putting in the registration privileges. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, so what we've done is we have a blanket here that we don't have holds, especially as we get close to the semester, for students who only owe us $100. So that would cover the student health fee. If what they didn't pay in the past is student health fee, that would cover library books, that would cover whatever. You have to have registration privileges, partially because we have students who don't pay their fees. And if we don't put a hold on their registration, they'll just continue to register. And the fact is, there's a different part of Title V, a different code that says that you must collect fees unless a student qualifies and applies for a promise grant or Board of Governors waiver. We are legally required to collect the fees. which is one reason that some colleges that have experienced financial difficulties, I won't name them because we are recording and live, but the fact is, if you took a look at their registration practices, what was happening is a student would register for their fall classes. They would take those classes, they would not pay for them. And then they would be allowed to register for spring. They would take them, they would not pay for them. And then if they sat out the summer or one more semester, all of their fees would be waived and they'd be able to do it again and again. So there are some colleges out there that have lost millions of dollars in fees. So it's not only a financial hit to the college, it's also illegal. It violates Title V. We do everything in our power to help students. We try to get them to apply for FAFSA, for the waiver, for whatever. But if you have a bill, you know what? We have to collect it.
So you're saying that students are allowed to take classes even though they have not paid?
No, I'm not. We are doing an automatic drop. But we have, what we've done, if they haven't registered with financial aid and they have a bill that's more than $100, we are dropping them for non-payment. Yes.
So Erica, yeah, I agree that I am aware that there are some circumstances where students have been allowed to continue this and
Yeah.
they're just getting sort of a free ride. So I agree that we need to have some restrictions. So, and I don't know if $100 is the right threshold. What I'm wondering is if we are looking at these policies with the DEI lens, does this in any way negatively impact or disproportionately impacted students?
Well,
Is there something that we need?
I think that's where we have to continue what I think is a vigilant push for students to apply for financial aid. I think our FAFSA squad that we have that goes out and tries to get students to fill out their FAFSA, tries to get students to apply for the Promise Grant, tries to, it's incorporated into all of the outreach we do to the high schools. I think I don't want to see students disproportionately impacted, but we also can't just say, well, we're not going to put holds on registrations because it might disproportionately impact. What we have to do is go back and look at the data and look at, okay, over the last 2 semesters, who were the students, who are the students who owed more than $100? Who are the students that are getting kind of caught in a cycle, and then try to address that through the way that we deliver services. But we can't not have this. We can't not have the policy, because then we run into a problem of we're not collecting fees. And so we've got to find the sweet spot. So I think the best thing to do is really do a targeted look at who are the students who are struggling and how do we reach out to them and what do we do?
Yeah, I think I absolutely agree with you. So I do think that we need to look at the data to make sure that we're not continuing an equity gap that we could close. So would that be then written into the AP somewhere, or how would, it's great that you recognize it and we would do that, but how do we as the trustees make sure that this is not negatively going to impact? Because I like your recommendation, but how is that done? Is that done through the AP?
Well, I think the AP needs to incorporate it, but since that's an administrative procedure, you don't usually get involved in that. So again, I would say when you're looking at your DEI mission statement, probably what you want to do is have a statement in there that talks about the registration and financial aid processes, that they reflect your equity or your DEI values, and that the college that you expect the college to keep an eye on this when assessing whether or not students are not being successful due to financial challenges rather than their willingness or interest to be here. I mean, I'm just throwing out language there, you know, but I think that's where you articulate that you want that's what you expect from the college.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And
Okay.
David had his hand up.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to express that I think withholding diplomas and registration privileges is perfectly understandable. But I do just have a slight issue with withholding grades. And similarly, because it's very similar to withholding transcripts as well. And I guess it just mostly stems from my own experience. I guess last semester, I experienced a heavy difficulty trying to apply for UCs. And that was because I just hadn't yet paid my own fees for the previous semester. And so I was having a lot of difficulty having to, you know, both pay off my UC applications and then my entire tuition in full in one moment. And so I think I'm sure many other students experience this as well. And so I would just hope that grades also were also striked.
So I have a different perspective, and I understand your problem because you're at the last stage trying to make all these applications and what have you, and I could understand that. But let's go back to just this policy itself. I really would like, I don't want to see this DEI problem becomes like a crippling thing to students where they become so complacent where they're not taking care of their, I don't want to say obligation, but what they're supposed to be doing. For
Mhm.
instance, if you are not making the effort to do your diligence, your real diligence, you would not be able to be successful in the future. So there are things, yes, if there are programs, you know, available for you to apply for financial aid, and you've done all this that you are supposed to do, I can understand this. I can understand there being a problem for
Mhm.
the college to withhold something after you have shown what your responsibility has done. But I don't want this DEI to be a blanket statement where our students lose their, you know, their, they don't want to be responsible. That's the word. Their responsibility of doing their really what they need to do. So going back to David, I can understand what David said because this is the period where he's applying for and all the money was gone, but still he has an obligation,
Mhm.
to say, okay, this is what's going on. I don't have the funds, but talk to someone in financial aid. But I definitely will not be going down that corner where everything is just, and a lot of people are already talking about that. This DEI, it has a good intention, but we have to be very careful.
Linda
So,
has her hand up.
yeah, so this is back to, I think, looking at who is impacted by this. And I think, you know, hearing David's story, you know, this is not a student who is not financially responsible. They just were caught sort of in a time where there was a financial burden that they couldn't meet their obligation all at once, but it wasn't that they weren't going to pay. So I guess, Erica, my question would be, what would be the impact of striking grades out of this? I mean, does that mean then it's a free for all? I mean, if we're striking transcripts out of it, what would be, would we then be held, would we then be at the mercy of students who don't want to pay if we withhold grades? What would that impact be?
Well, I have to say that I don't understand how we can withhold a grade without withholding the transcript. They're one and the same. So the law was very clear that we could not withhold transcripts. So I would actually think maybe we should cross out grades as well, because grades come on transcripts.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
So I think that that's the case. I mean, I don't know how you communicate a grade without communicating the transcript. That said, we have to be very careful about going down the exception rabbit hole, because what we don't want to do is back ourselves into a corner where somebody or some people on my campus start to have to be the arbiters of what's a reasonable excuse and what isn't. And did this student try as hard or didn't they? And so I think one thing to do, you know, just thinking about it from a systemic perspective, is to possibly look at the timing of when all those UC application fees would be due, and try to figure out, is there a way to ensure that whatever the timing of a financial aid disbursement or of fees being due could possibly fall outside of that window of paying application fees, or, you know, I mean, or I don't know, there are a lot of different things. But to Berlinda's point, you know, part of our job here as a college is to help students with financial literacy and with planning and with meeting their obligations, especially because four-year institutions are far less forgiving than we are. In fact, when I was at Oxnard, the folks at Cal State Channel Islands used to contact us and say, you know, a lot of your students think we're going to do a lot of things for them that we're not. And so, so I see the bind that David is describing. And so we probably want to think about, is there any way we could take a step back and look at the timing of applications, look at the timing of stuff, see if there's anything that we can do. But again, we don't want to get into the business of evaluating reasons, because then you can't evaluate reasons, because then is where you really get into a potential disproportionate impact.
Yeah, so I like your analogy, and I also agree. I don't see how you can, if we are legally obligated to strike transcripts, then grades seem to follow that, because to me, it's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, so I think we should strike grades.
Because if it weren't, then a student could just get their grade from the faculty member on a piece of letterhead. So I think we should just strike the grades. So the only things that would be left would be the diplomas and the registration privileges. The diplomas is kind of funny, because if you can have your transcript, it's going to have your degree posted on it. So whether or not you actually get the diploma is irrelevant. But we're going to stay with what Title V has, what we're required. So we'll get rid of grades and transcripts. And so that'll just say, shall have diplomas, no comma, and registration privileges withheld.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Are you okay with that, David?
Yes. Thank you.
Good, yes. Okay, great. Okay, so that was our last one, right?
Yep, the next thing, accreditation.
Oh, Crystal. Go ahead, Crystal. Is it Crystal that's going to give you guys the update?
Oh, I thought you were, Berlinda.
Why would I? Well, let me just tell you what I've noticed. I did attend a meeting this morning. And where are you, Crystal?
I'm
And
right here.
without Crystal telling me anything, I knew she was nervous. She was swinging back and forth and back and forth. I knew it's like, I think, is that Thea that said it's like getting ready to get married, and at the last minute, everything, you were all nervous, so it's on. Go ahead, Crystal, tell them all about it.
Well, I just got a little unnerved yesterday because I talked to the team assistant, and their request for evidence was extraordinarily large. And I was a little frustrated by that, because I have to honestly say, I thought we provided an overabundance of evidence to address the ICER, and I didn't really think the additional evidence they were asking for had anything to do with our meeting the standards. So I was a little taken aback by the breadth and depth of evidence that they were asking for, but they're going back and they're going to reevaluate that. So that's good. But let's get to the fun part, which is that we have set up the initial meet and greet, which the board members are more than welcome to attend, and that's going to be Monday morning on March 8th from 8:30 to 9 a.m. And David, you are more than welcome to attend that as well. And this is really just where the site team introduces themselves to us. They don't really take questions. It's really Ed kind of laying the groundwork for what they're going to be doing with this site visit, and then having the team members introduce themselves. Then we have also scheduled the 2 open forums. One is Monday afternoon from 3 to 3:45, and the other is Tuesday morning from 9 to 9:45. And no members of the college's executive team or board of trustees should attend the forums. That's an opportunity for the community to talk to the team about anything that's on their mind. Hopefully all positive and upbeat.
Are you going to tell them about the, we're having a forum? Did you want the board members to attend the forum?
That's correct. That's it's actually, that's not a forum, that's a town hall. We got to get our terms right
Town
here.
hall,
So on
Yeah.
March
Town
3rd, we'll be having a town hall for the campus community where, and Erica likes to refer to this as our pep rally, where we will just be talking to faculty, staff, and administrators about the site visit, what to expect, and to just basically pep us all up to be excited about a site visit and getting our accreditation reaffirmed.
Yeah.
We'll send you out those, and you are more than welcome to attend the pep rally. We'll call it the pep rally.
It's a pep rally. If we were face to face, we would have had a lot more going on. Trust me, it bums me out, but we would have had swag, we'd have had all kinds of stuff, but
Imagine.
couldn't
So
do
in
it this
other
time.
words, we're saving the college a ton of money here.
Yes, yes, we are.
Yes, it is. Okay, that sounds good. So should we schedule our next meeting, or we'll worry about that later?
Crystal, when do you think we'll have another spate of policies?
Well, I have a lot of them out there right now, so I would think maybe in 2 months, we might be ready. to do
Okay.
more.
Okay,
So
great.
we'll do a doodle poll for 2 months.
That sounds good. Well, I'm looking forward to getting this behind us, and I know poor Crystal is. And Dr. Enright, we all are, but I think we're in a very good position. I think-
Yeah, I think we are too, having been through this so recently as a team chair and just looking at our ICER, I think we're in really good shape. Every team has its own ethos. And so what we are just hoping, and we've had good conversations with the chair and the team assistant and our liaison Gohar. So I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm happy that they are taking another look at their evidence requests.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I guess at this point, since we have nothing else on the agenda,
Yep.
we'll adjourn the meeting, and thank you all for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.